Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest from Aversion's Crown, Hell Will Come For Us All, out June 12th on Nuclear Blast. This album has 9 tracks, 38 minutes in length, and this is the band's 4th full-length studio album. 2019 saw a wide selection of great deathcore albums being released. It seemed like every month there was one hitting the airwaves, and so far this year I felt like it's been a lackluster year as far as the deathcore genre is concerned. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's about to change with this release. This album is to 2020 what Human Target and the Sea of Tragic Beasts were to 2019. That's how strongly I feel about this album. I really feel like the band with this record found their sweet spot. This album is very emotional and very organic at the same way, which allows the record to have great sound, have this really big wall of sound, be melodic, be heavy, be brutal, be driven, and have this great fluidity from track to track that it just feels like a snowball, gaining momentum with every single song, never losing any intensity, never losing any aggression, just really destroying everything in its path as you go through all 9 tracks. The album has this overall really robust sound, this overall really heavy and intense sound, but under it all, it's still very melodic. I really like what they did on this album. They created 2 separate layers to the record. You have this brutal deathcore driven sound at the top that really dominates every single song. You really feel like it takes every single song by the neck and it drags the body down all the way into submission, pinning it down into submission. But when you look under the hood, when you look under that level of aggression, that level of intensity, you find incredible melodic undertones, either by using keyboard melodies or the way the guitars sound, having different layers, superimposing different layers of guitars, allowing the guitars to be heavy, driven, brutal, but still very melodic, controlling the atmosphere, controlling the mood that the songs have. I love this dynamic about this record. It really allows the album to have a much bigger sound. Instead of walking down a very narrow path, a very narrow road that perhaps would be defined by the more strict guidelines of the genre, with this record, I felt that they just expanded on that. The road became a lot bigger and they were able to add different elements that really makes the sound become better, more defined, like I said earlier, more organic, more emotional, and that is driven from all different elements that come together in a perfect combination. It's really a perfect storm of different moving parts that creates a much bigger sound, a much bigger wall of sound that just really devastates everything in its path. Now, as far as those elements are concerned, I really feel that there's perhaps 4 different elements that really combine themselves in order to create this big wall of sound that I'm referring to. The first one we have to talk about is the drums. The drums are powerful but not overpowering. I really felt that they were the foundation, they were the groundwork of every single song on this record. They really determine where the song is going to go. They really determine how wide the sound is going to be on every single track, and they provide this really strong foundation that you can build all the other different building blocks on top of it, and allows the song to still be very cohesive, very coherent. Even though the guitars perhaps are going in different directions or the vocals are being very dynamic, it doesn't really matter. That bass is very broad, is very wide, so it's able to hold onto every single thing that they added to the song without letting the song really break apart within itself. The next element is the guitars. The guitars are strong, they're heavy, they're melodic, they're driven, they're melancholic at times. I really like the wide range of sounds and perhaps even the wide range of emotions that you get from the sound that the guitars bring on every single track. They bend in so many different directions, and once again they were able to create layers to it. You're able to have the guitars being heavy, being driven, being brutal, partnering it up with the drums on where they want the song to go, and then underneath that layer having a different layer that adds more melody, that becomes a little bit more somber, more melancholic, depending on the direction that that song specifically has. I love this dynamic. I love this thicker sound that the record has, and from the guitars it really is thicker. You really feel like it's a lasagna of guitar sounds. You really feel like there's so many different aspects coming in as far as the guitars are concerned that really make the overall sound a lot more robust, a lot stronger. The next element that in my opinion plays a huge role on this record is the lyrics. To me, it's one of the strong points of the record. When I mentioned earlier the album being organic and emotional, I feel like a huge part of that comes from the power of the lyrics. It comes from the message that are within the lyrics, mixing sci-fi topics with more current social world events, if you will. I really like that dynamic. You're able to combine these two worlds into one and create songs that just felt that they were coming from a very deep place from within the band. This is not a record that lyrically just feels like it was parachuted in. It was not like they wrote these songs about an utopian society, or they wrote songs about fantasies that don't really exist or that don't have any ground. At least they don't have any ground in reality. I felt that this album was very grounded from a lyrical perspective, and because it was very grounded, even though they expanded on the stories, they expanded on the topics, and they went outside of the realms of possibility perhaps, because they were still grounded in truth, they're still grounded in common themes. That brings the emotion out of the band and into the lyrics, and then obviously into the songs. So I really feel like the lyrics on this record is a huge component. It's a huge component on why the album sounds the way it does, why it feels so raw, so emotional, so organic. Without these lyrics, I don't think you could have that. You could still have the sound, but I don't think you get that more emotional delivery with every single song that makes the songs come to life, that makes the songs feel like they're part of you, that you can interact with the song, you can connect with the song beyond just listening to the track. You really feel like they're putting your words into their mouth and delivering the message to the world, something you cannot do yourself, and they're doing it on your behalf. I really feel that connection with this album, and that to me is where the organic and the emotional side of things comes into the overall sound of the record. Last but not least, we have to talk about the vocals. Spot on as far as the sound is concerned. They were really the perfect outlet to the sound on this record in order to deliver the message. Very dynamic, very powerful, very raw at times, moving into different directions, not being tight into one genre or into one specific style or one specific approach, not being afraid of trying few little things, not too much. I mean, the vocals don't go too much outside of the norm of what you would expect from the band or from an album that has these characteristics, but there's still enough there. There's enough changes, there's enough dynamic changes within the tracks to really give the songs vocally a roller coaster ride, because you're also getting that same roller coaster ride musically. So vocally, I really felt that there was enough dynamic moments within the tracks to really bring the songs up and down, to change the eyesight of the listener as far as the vocal approach is concerned. In my opinion, this album is going to be on top of Mount Olympus as far as deathcore albums is concerned for this year. What an incredible release. I mean, on all fronts, when you look at all the different elements that drive the album, everything, this album is solid front to back, no weak points, no weak spots, no song that's a throw-in. It's a really cohesive, really concise, really brutal, but still very melodic, and like I said, very emotional and organic at the same time. Now, as far as songs are concerned, Caught in the System, I love this track. Brutal and powerful opening as the song starts. The drums and guitars make the body, they're the body of the song, while the vocals are really the vessel in which the brutality comes out. I love that dynamic that this song has as far as bringing these three different elements together. The chorus has a killer keyboard melody under it. It really gives a somber and melancholic vibe to how the chorus sounds like. Much different from the brutality that you get during the verses, but I really love that dynamic change. That melody change completely kills this track. It just makes it so much better, so much bigger. It changes the overall mood that the song has. The vocals are very dynamic on this track. They allow the song to change directions and go into different paths. So you have the vocals are almost the guide in which tells the song where to go musically. I love the combination of factors. I love how they interact with each other, making this a very powerful track. Following the second chorus, you get this keyboard bridge that brings this real sinister mood into the song. You had that mood in the chorus, but it was it was not hidden, but it was not one of the main driving forces. It was there, you could notice it, you could hear it, but it was hidden under the blanket of heaviness and intensity that the chorus has. During this bridge, it becomes in the forefront. It moves into the forefront. It becomes the main focal point, so you can really feel the mood of the song changing. But it's not really changing. It's just coming from the chorus, and now it's being amplified. After that, you have this brutality, this heaviness that comes in, and then the song finishes off with that same melody to close off the track. To me, the perfect way of closing off a song that has this very melancholic, very somber, dark melody throughout, peaking in and going out, mostly in the chorus, but then during those two bridges, it works really well. Creates a song that's brutal and melodic at the same time. Next, Scourge of Violence. This is my favorite song on the record. I love this track. Killer melodic riff, powerful drums, and completely devastating vocals. Those are the three elements that come together to create this track from beginning to end. I love the alternating backing vocals that get layered into the main vocals of the track. You see them coming in and coming out throughout the song, regardless if it's verses or chorus, but you see it coming in and coming out. It makes the song even more brutal. It makes the song even heavier from a vocal perspective because it becomes bigger. The sound becomes much larger. I love those dynamics. I love what it offers the song. The chorus is a mountain crusher. You just feel like this chorus destroys everything around it. It has volume, it has sound, it has melody, it has heaviness. Everything is coming at you, punching you at the same time. At times, the sound almost becomes groovy as far as the guitars is concerned. It almost feels like a groove metals track coming in into the chorus, into all this other brutality that the song has. Following the second chorus, you feel the song is starting to move into waves of heaviness coming in and out of the track, which to me it's a great transition before returning to its original formula, which allows then the song to close off. I love this track. I love the heaviness that it has. I love the melody that it has, and I love that groovy guitar melody that it has in the chorus, really making the chorus memorable, making it hooky, making it catchy, because it also has a very simple text. Is a very lyrical wise is very simple. It's not overly complicated, which also helps make the chorus a lot more hooky, a lot more catchy. But to me, the mixture of those lyrics with that grooviness that the guitar has really come together to create this incredible mountain crusher of a chorus as far as I'm concerned. Last but not least, Hymn of Annihilation. Killer opening riff, melodic, technical, and it feels like it does increase in volume. It comes almost from 0 all the way to 11 as the song opens up. It merges into the track, becomes the underbelly of the track, and then the song gains a lot of aggression and starts to be unleashed within itself. The song changes directions a lot. It's a song that doesn't remain on a linear path. It's very brutal, it's very driven, but it changes, it bends, it goes into different directions, it does different things. It doesn't stay concise all the way through. Very dynamic from that perspective. It really alternates a more melodic tech death elements, if you will, with pure brutality. It has these two faces, and it's constantly changing between the two. I really like the melodic tech death perspective that the song has as far as the guitars are concerned. It's really groovy. It starts to bend almost so much that goes almost into a sound that feels like like a prog track. I really like that. I really like that nuance that the song has, and I like the movement that this track has. Very dynamic, like I said, bending in multiple directions. It allows the song to have a roller coaster feel to it all the way through. You just never know what you're going to get at the next piece, at the next part. You just don't know what the song is going to bring you because it's very volatile, constantly changing. The song then finishes off with a very dark and somber melody, and I love that. I love that sense of unease that the melody has. Really dark, really somber, closes off the track in a perfect way, because this is a very dynamic track, moves in a lot of different ways, but it still has this very somber feel to it underneath it all, underneath the surface, underneath everything else. So to close off with that killer melody at the end, to me, it wraps up the song perfectly. This is it. This is Aversion's Crown. Hell Will Come For Us All, out June 12th on Nuclear Blast. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.